Alright, hey everybody, how's it going? If you saw the title of this video, it's, and you're probably here to learn about Torgman, the new NES game that was supposed to come out last year, and it's still apparently coming out this year. I was creating this game for someone who runs an Ohio retro video game convention. I think it's been going on for about 8 years, and it's called TORGS, or the TORGS Summit, and I think it's the Ohio Retro Gaming is what it stands for, I think. I'm not really sure. Anyway, through the grapevine, I heard that someone wanted an original Nintendo game made for TORGS, and it's the person who runs TORGS. I'm sure some of you might know him. And for the couple years before I found that out, I had been learning to use nesmaker, which is a program that helps you make Nintendo games. And early on, that program claimed that you could do that without coding, which was completely false. Absolutely false. Couldn't even make a basic game without coding. You could make a demo, a terrible demo game without coding. But anyway, nesmaker's gotten better, or did get better over the years, and it was definitely helpful, and I wouldn't have been able to make Nintendo games without it, so I'm very grateful. I don't think it ever reached its full capability. It's never a finished program, but that could be a whole nother video or whatever in itself. Anyway, we're here today talking about Torgman, and the game I was coding and doing most of the work for within nesmaker, because the person who asked someone to do it, I offered to do this for free. Nobody paid me. I wanted to do something for free like this because I thought it would be awesome, and I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted to help out, and I thought it was going to be a great idea. And the only way I was doing it was we were giving the game out for free, and so that's what we all agreed upon. All as in me and him, me and this other person, and then later on a couple people got involved, some people not as much as others, which is fine. I just needed some advice sometimes with coding, because I'm not a coding expert for the NES, but I can code for the NES, and I have successfully. I've made a game called Almika, the Star Rider Densetsu Gaiden. It's a ridiculous name, but it's supposed to be. And I coded that with much help from the awesome nesmaker community. That's something else I wanted to talk about before starting. Is that for a couple years I was really a part of this community, small community online that was making Nintendo games with this program called nesmaker. And a lot of these people were awesome, very helpful. Praise be to Dale Coop. Wonderful, wonderful person who many of these people would have never successfully made a Nintendo game without him helping. It would have been too daunting, I think, without his help, definitely early on in some people's development, especially if they've never experienced coding at all. Assembly is different than the coding you'll get today. You can basically write sentences today and have something coded. Well, you can have an AI code something for you, so a supposed AI, a learning machine, anyway, or a word-guessing machine. Nonetheless, so I was able to make games with this program, demos with this program. I made that game, Almika, the Star Rider. It's okay, it's free. Go ahead and check it out online on itch.io if you want. Totally free. Don't donate, don't pay for it ever, unless you want a physical cart. And then I also make those. But so I went to make a second one called Almika in Space 2, TOO, to be funny. But also it would be the second game in the series. Anyway, long story short, I was in the middle of making that and a few other projects when I was asked to help out with this Torgman game. And so obviously Torgman has to do with the Torg Summit, and it's a parody on Konami Man. And he's a little character mostly seen in Japan, and in some NES games here, and probably some games after that. They probably threw him in Street Fighter by now, I'm not sure. But, and so this guy wanted basically a Mega Man clone game. Now let me tell you about Nesmaker. It's not going to make a successful Mega Man clone game. It can make a wannabe Mega Man game. And that's what I told this guy at the beginning. I said, imagine the coolest thing you want to make, the coolest game you want to make with this program, and then divide it by 10. I said, that's probably what we're going to be able to achieve. And I said, that doesn't mean it's bad. We can make it good, but take all of your ideas of the coolest Nintendo game ever. And it's because of the restrictions we have with the NESmaker program, the board type that this game will have to go onto for a physical game cart. And of course, one of this person's issues was that they didn't check out anything beforehand. So when they were promising people this game and it was going to be made, and it was going to be made for free to hand out, or with the regular VIP pass, he didn't look up how much it was going to cost. He didn't do any of the research himself, which he also didn't do any research in the NESmaker. He 100% didn't know how to use the program. I had to teach him a lot of things. He wouldn't listen very well. It was always problematic. He never did anything when he was supposed to. It would be months later, I'd end up having to do it myself. And a few other people that joined also helped out. I have nothing against any of them. What I do have against this person is that they're now trying to steal all of my work. They didn't even name drop me in the recent video that we're just going to watch a little clip of, and you can go watch it online yourself. Didn't even mention my name. Said that the game was put off for a while because of he was just so busy, just so many things in his life, which I heard he is busy and has been, and has some good things happen in his life, and I hope those all go for the for the best. But no, it was because I quit. It was because I quit. I took my ball and I went home. He got very rude and nasty, wasn't helping. I confronted him about it, and I said, look, you're not really helping out, you're not listening. I'm doing all the work, and the other people here are doing work, and it's all seems for naught, or at least it seems like you're going to reap every single benefit of this with your face on it, right? You get to make the title screen. You get to have your character's name on it. It's about everything you wanted. But he, months keep going by, and he didn't really do anything until I, tried to get really kind of like, we need to do this. So anyway, he ended up doing some sprite design, which was all right. A lot of it was all right. I had to correct a lot of it and have him correct a lot of it, and then recorrect it, because there's limitations with it. So he did some level design, which I had to correct, and because there's limitations on NESmaker and things like that, and he wasn't understanding of any of those, even if they were explained to him, and that's fine. It's a lot to think of, I learned NESmaker and ASM, was it 6502 or 6205 assembly code, within 7 months, and made a game with much help from other people helping me learn how to code and use the program, watching many tutorial videos over and over and over again, reading, going through the forums, searching. This guy didn't do any of that. Okay, he just wasn't willing to learn, do, remember, pay attention, right? But he wanted all of his stuff up front. Anyway, so let's check out the game real quick. I should have it set up just fine. It's called Torgman, The Adventures Part 1. So, of 2022. I'm sure that'll be changed if it hasn't been. So he made the title screen. I think it looks good. Extremely simple. This would take you, a night, a few hours of sitting around, dreaming it up, being able to draw it. It's nothing crazy, right? He didn't spend months on this, hopefully. So, although it did take him months. So we're at a test spot right here. We're testing a boss fight. So when I destroy this boss, he dropped a score, a little score piece, and he opened the door there. So that's working fine. You can hear the music. That's my music, but we weren't going to use it in the game. This was just a demo. You can see Torgman. He looks good. He had some different iterations because of limitations and stuff, and I had to correct a few things. But he drew Torgman. So we gave Torgman a punch with a little wave action. You can see he's charging up, just charge up shot. That's something I coded, so you're going to hear that a lot. So the gun, was coded by me. This pause screen was coded by me, and I want to say Jotaro, I could be wrong, and Sherman, which I think his online tag is Turtle Rescue. I want to say that's Joe Sherman. And then Jotaro, I'm not sure of his real name. We never gave each other real names. My name online would be Mouse Spirit, or Spirit Mouse. So, we go by handles on the forum and stuff, try to have cool names, little, icon pictures. So anyway, this is where you pick your weapon. There's the bomb, coded by me, and Dale Coop helped because there were some problems. See, so when you come from the pause screen, it shoots to the right. That was something I didn't fix yet. But you can see the missiles that shoot far. That was coded by me. This gun that goes down, coded by me. You go on like this forever. So, the door came back. That's another thing if you pause in a boss room. So, you can see how complex it can become. All the things you run into when coding a Nintendo game. And what you have to think about and what you have to correct. Now I can't get out of here. Luckily, it's just a test run. The game's not completed. But the floor looks good. The walls look good. Good enough. It's definitely Mega Man-esque. And, I think it looks alright. But all of it's coded by me. I'll tell you that Nesmaker has a very basic code. You would call it a game engine. Now, by basic, I don't mean it doesn't get complex in its size. What I mean is it's all the base that you need to start making a game. So none of this stuff is done when you're a Nesmaker. None of the stuff I'm doing right now is done. Now some of it's available in a way. There's a walk, or there's a move, I guess I should say. There's a type of jump. There's no double jump. There's no dash. There's no different type of bullets. The melee I've got's different. Anything that did come with it that was going to be part of the game, especially visually, like I ended up coding. I recoded, I coded, I redid. However you want to put it. I'll show you those here in a second. So we'll get rid of that. Get rid of the music. So that's the game we're talking about here. That's the game that someone's going to now try to sell, which was never part of the agreement. It was always supposed to be free, and that's the only reason I dragged other people in to help me code, is because it was all going to be free, and I wasn't going to be paying them, and I wasn't going to be getting paid, and this person wasn't going to be getting paid for their... Anyway, they run a non-profit gaming convention, so I'm not sure of all the particulars of that either, but... Anyway, we'll go ahead and get into the program, Nesmaker, real quick. So here's Torgman. This isn't where you draw, but this is where you put together what's called a sprite. And I'm not going to run through teaching you everything, but here's all the character sprites. Here's for the HUD. Now the HUD, all of the HUD, I did not code. I think Joe Sherman did a lot of the coding for that, and the timer, which is great. It's awesome. It's really awesome what he did. It's fantastic. I'm glad he came in to help. He's a great coder. He's a great game maker. The Turtle Rescue games, all the Turtle games. If I am getting it right, I'm pretty sure those are all the games he made. He's a great guy. Or girl, I don't know. Never met him. Oh, but his name's Joe, and you never know today. Don't want to offend anybody. So here's Nesmaker. And so let's say you want to move to the right. Okay? Here's the code that I made to move to the right. Quite complicated for a Nintendo game for just moving to the right, where it could just be something very basic like go to the right. Well, this involves a lot of things. Which way you're facing, probably what state you're in, so what graphics are being done. I mean, those are kind of basic things. And then a return to script. Anyway, that was all written by me. You want to move left. It's similar, but the opposite. Even for stop moving, a game doesn't know what start is, what moving is, basically. These are things that I named it. What it understands is get the current action type for the player, so see what I'm doing, compare it to 7, which would be drill. That's my comment. So see if I'm drilling, which was a move in my Amiga 2 demo, so it was still prevalent in our game, just not used. And then it'll say if not compared to 7, then you'll go ahead and skip. But if it is compared to 7, you'll go ahead and return to script. Okay, so that's how this coding works. So you can load the physics byte of the player. You can say, is that player on the ground? Because that's what this means. And then you can say if it is on the ground, you move down here, stop player moving. But if it's not on the ground, you go ahead and jump, and you do the different, stop player moving, get action type, for if you're in the air, because if you let go of the right or left when you're in the air, you're not going to be standing, right? So I could go on forever. This is for when text pops up, had to be coded. I coded that. This is for when you pause the game. I had to be coded. I coded that. I had help from Jotaro, and to make the pause screen, because I was able to make a pause screen with the select menu, and then I had help making it properly as a warp to screen, which means when you pause the game, you warp to a different screen. The graphics are all of the pause menu. You can't see your character graphics. You can't see enemies. They're all frozen. And you select your weapons. And in my demo, you're able to select the music. We cut that out for this Torgman game. And then you press the pause button, and it warps you back to that room you're in the game with the enemies where they were, and it worked out great. Now, at first it didn't, and that's why I asked for help from the forum and got help. But yeah, I coded a lot of it. The dash, I coded. It's something that other people didn't have in their games at the time, at least not how I was doing it. And I was able to think it up and encode that. Create projectile. It's a lot longer than this, and that's why we're using this is called a macro. So this projectile word right here is actually a huge script for how the projectiles work, which I coded. Which gets complex too, because there's different projectiles in the game, and depending on when you get them, and you don't have to get them in an order, and I made it so it's all, variable for when you get them and when. Anyway, this is for the power shot. Kind of simple. It uses, so you could tell this one was done by someone else. I'm going to say Joe or whoever was at least added to what I had already there. They made it flash, so they needed to add a variable there, and then so we did a palette change for the character's palette, and when you're charging up, he flashes and makes a sound effect, and then you shoot the gun, and then you're not flashing anymore, and you have to charge it up again. Jump reset. All right. So anyway, all those blah blah blah. Every move you do. We'll go to the scripts that aren't moves. So warp to screen. So when you warp, when you go through a door or something, or we need to use warp, I had to write the code. Checkpoints. Wrote the code. Yeah, he says in the video there's no checkpoints. They're already set up for you. Or at least they used to be set up for you. Now they're not anymore. To be clear, I did this game. I made the brunt of this game. And yeah, absolutely, there was no contracts, there was no anything. There was a simple agreement that I'm going to make this game for him for free. He's going to help out, and then it's going to be given away for free. So that was the only agreement we had. Not an initial agreement. It was the only agreement. So that's here for a certain type of solid block that only monsters can't get through. I had to code that. Whether you got the orb, I also doubled it as a collection script. Had to code all that. Shoot towards players. So this is AI for an enemy, which I had help coding, but I also coded myself. Jump site movement, same thing. I combined scripts. You can tell these are my notes because I do very long notes like that. So I coded a lot of this, but the site part was coded by someone else. And let me say, when I say someone else, it doesn't mean the person that we're talking about that runs TORGs. He didn't code one thing, so just to be clear. This is to add to your health when you do a health pickup. I coded that. The proximity script, I did not code. This is something I didn't code. This is one of the main things I had to call in help for, because we wanted it. He wanted it. The guy, the TORG guy, wanted this type of script to be in there really bad. He wanted the enemies to know where you're at, and that's not a basic thing within nesmaker. He wanted a lot of things, and of course none of it was in nesmaker. Someone had to code it. That someone was me 90% of the time. Here's some changes I had to do to monster locks. I know that doesn't look crazy, but these are also macros, so the script is going to be a lot longer what these are pertaining to. Same thing here. Has to do with variables. I mean, this is a simple script. This one's not using any macros. This one is, though. So anyway, I coded all of that stuff. Here's my Star Rider 2 game. I mean, we could go look at those files and they're going to be the same, but I'll go ahead and play the game and you'll see that it's the same, and that'll be a lot faster. Sorry, I'm actually taking a lot longer than I thought I would. I was going to try to make this video kind of quick. So you can hear the music, that's the same, pretty sure. The shots, I've got the dash. Now this demo was made well before this guy asked me to code this game. Oh yeah, I created a dodge. So that's a dodge. It's pretty sweet. Like, it's a phase out. I also have a taller character. To do all this was kind of tough, to make him ducking and have everything work right. You got a little laser sword. This is what the pause menu was at the time. It was not a warp. This right here would change the music, but there's only one song on here. Right here changes my weapon. So now you see I've got the different weapons. So as you can tell, it's exactly like the game I made for him, and it's exactly like the video he's currently showing and saying that he took out all my code and redid the code, which if you watch the video and after you've watched all this, you'll see that's that's an impossibility, because this is all obviously my code. And you can see the HUD up there with cooldowns. That's cooldown for my shift, cooldown for my dash. Yeah, it's very cool. Oh yeah, and then I've got recoil for the big shot. See that? There's some. She's bouncy. It's something I was going for. So you could see the beginnings of the game I made for him was based. Literally, I took this game and then I made this game with it. It is actually this game retold for this game. So my code is all through it, and some of those scripts I showed you. This is what a pittance. This is nothing of what I coded. Like, I coded so much more within the game. Did so many things with the nesmaker. Had to rework what was allowed in the game so we could make room for more things, and go into the banks, the memory banks where stuff's stored, and rework all that stuff. And not to mention the months and months I worked on my first game, which I made my second demo game from. So combined, this was already a year's worth of coding and fixes to the nesmaker base module for making this game for him. So there's already a year's worth of work, and he doesn't know that, and that's not for, that wasn't for him to expect to be like, oh yeah, well, you haven't worked on my game yet, and he's right. So I spent months on his game after correcting all these problems and making all these cool things happen, what I think's cool in my game. Yeah, so then, it was a lot of work to get what you just saw right here, especially for one person. I had, like I said, plenty of help from people, getting answers from people. Dale Coop is amazing. Other people on there, on Nesmaker's forum and Discord, are amazing. But let's move on here. So, what happened the other day? Someone mentioned to me that this guy was going to try to put my game out, the game I made. He was going to still try to put it out. And so, what I was shown, I don't know if I can't show you that one. Well, I don't want to put somebody on blast. Well, my buddy. So let me see what I can do here. Okay, so that's fine. That didn't show anything. So this is from the guy. He says, this guy, when working with me in the short time, used copy-paste code from nesmaker forums, and that is the extent of his input. Be ready for the troll when the pre-orders hit, because I sent him a message, because I heard and saw his video, that he was going to put this game out and claim it's his, and the video said that. So I said, yeah, this is what I sent to the TORG's website. You can only make a message this long, so this is what I had to send. I said, yeah, this is the guy who made most of the Torgman game you're trying to sell. I suggest you don't try to steal and sell my game at your event. So that's what I put. I had to do it in 2 messages. And, what will we do, Sue? So you got the people on his side for no good reason. They don't know the situation. That's fine. And so they kept going. Laugh out loud. It took me over a week to all the dumb and crappy looking stuff he tried to put in my levels without even consulting me. What copy-paste code he did put in? We had to scramble to figure out what the guy was even trying to do. Like, this is what he's saying after I messaged him this. He's on damage control, talking smack about me, acting like I didn't do anything, acting like he took all this stuff out of the game. Okay, he's acting like he removed all this stuff from the game. So let's go ahead and check out his video real quick. Okay, so here's a game what I was just showing you.
Here is a nesmaker build for a original Nintendo cart. This game specifically has been in the works for about 2 years now. It's been kind of off and on. I wanted to have this done last year, but too many things got in the way.
Too many things got in the way. I quit. I took my ball and I went home. That's what got in the way, because he wasn't capable of doing any of the work, because he didn't know how, and I did, and I took my stuff, and I went home, because he was rude, unappreciative, unhelpful. It was absurd. Because I was doing it all for free. Thousands of dollars worth of work for free. It's absurd. We're not going to go too far into this.
Kind of working on it off and on, and it's finally to the point to where now we will be including it.
Okay, so he says now we will be including it. Last year he was saying the same thing. They were going to include it for free, but now he's going to say something different. Yeah, he's nervous.
VIP option as a gold cart, so there will be 50. So I don't know.
There will be 50. That's 5.
Or not, but 5
Here we go. Good job.
Gold carts.
There will be 5 carts.
And those are included with the super VIP options.
With the super VIP option now, not for free, not with VIP, right? The super VIP option, and then
if you were to grab those, and I think there's only one left.
Only one left. He's already got these sold. This game that wasn't made a year ago, that I was making, he's already got them sold, apparently. All these gold carts. He's already got these sold for this totally unfinished game.
I would hop on that.
He would hop on that.
Now, if you're not grabbing Super VIP, don't worry, we will have gray carts available.
For free?
We're going to do one run of these physical carts, and we're probably not...
That's not the shape of a NES cart, by the way.
So if you're a Nintendo enthusiast, or if you got like a complete set or so on, definitely make sure you have this game.
Can't you tell the conviction when he said that? Can't you tell how much, how many Nintendo games he's played in his life, and how he thinks this is going to fit into the 700 original games, and that if you are a collector like him, I mean, look at these posters, look at these fresh posters that he had from childhood that aren't folded up, right? I think you know where I'm going with this. He's definitely a poser, and by the end of our relationship, when I was making this game for him, I ended up telling him that. I said, you seem to have the idea that every game is a Mega Man game. Every game for Nintendo was Mega Man. Ever heard of Mega Man, guys? Yeah, it was a great game. The first 3 or 4 were great games, and the 5th or 6th or whatever. But every game's not Mega Man. Every game doesn't have Mega Man music. And he ended up just ripping off the original Mega Man 2 music and switching some notes, and it sounded terrible. And I said, dude, isn't this just from Mega Man 2? He's like, yeah. So anyway, and all the enemies are based off of characters from games already and stuff. So he didn't take the time to make up anything. This is his passion project, he says, and he didn't take time to do anything. He just wants his name on it. He just wants it to be cool. He wants it to be done. He was so rude all the time too, and he was always blaming other people. He was blaming me or blaming people, that I didn't even know about in his real life and stuff as to why he couldn't do things, why he didn't pay attention, why he's blaming something on me when I told him exactly what we needed done. And this was all through Discord, so all he had to do was scroll back up and see exactly what I said, and I wouldn't get a response half the time. Maybe he was extremely busy, but he wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to be doing stuff, So, anyway, we'll go for a second longer.
It will be a physical cart that you can play on your original Nintendo. And there will be a gold variant, which go to the Super VIP, and then the gray variant that will be sold essentially at cost.
Essentially at cost. I forget what that's called when you do things like that, when you say essentially instead of just saying at cost. Because if it was at cost, that's what he would have said. But instead he said essentially. So, like I said, the game was never, ever, ever supposed to be for sale ever whatsoever. And that's the only reason I was making it for free for this guy. We'll just go a little bit and show you that, okay, so when he says in the video, in those comments that he made on Facebook about, they had to take out all the stuff I did, all the weird coding, didn't even know. He's talking about these. He had to take out my little bushes, which were temporary. He knew that, or if he paid attention, he would know that. And he put in fences. He thinks that's what coding is. That's not coding. This is what nesmaker does. It lets you place blocks on a screen. That's one of the main things nesmaker does, because normally that would involve coding, but instead uses a button. It's called button coding. So technically, yeah, I guess he did code something when he put that fence there. We'll count it. But you'll see that these enemies were coded by me. They're going to be the same exact enemies in my game, in my version of Torgman that I still have from I think July or August from last year. And I can show you guys that folder. That folder still sits there with those dates on it, and it has these exact enemies, this exact coding, these exact clouds that I drew. Those aren't the nesmaker basic clouds. You can see the little things that I did to the clouds to make them different. Anyway, let's...
My guess. So you think I'll probably just have to mouse and keyboard it, which was...
Yeah, all that enemy doing all that, I coded that. With help from people from the forum also.
Weird.
The charge shot he's using, I showed you earlier. I coded that from my game before this. These enemies right here, I coded. The enemy going up and down, I could show you him, and that I coded that.
Alright, never mind.
You can tell, yeah, he doesn't know how to play the game. He doesn't play. I'm so glad he made a video of this.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. What's up, Ashley?
Yeah, exactly. He has no idea how to play a video game. You can tell. He's just a poser. Oh, these guys.
First couple times I played this,
I coded.
I did end up rage quitting quite a few times.
He rage quit. It's an easy game. Trust me, guys. I made sure the game was easy.
Torgman will also have an alternate attack. I'm not sure exactly what it will be.
Yeah, he doesn't know what anything will be, and he's already sold this game. He's already sold it. Okay, we're gonna stop. We're not watching his video. If you want to go watch it, search Torgman Adventures Part 1 dash video, or I don't know what all that stuff is, but it was on Facebook. I was just able to watch it. I'm not on Facebook, but I was able to watch it, and I downloaded it. And we'll keep it up just in case. So then he emails me also So let's go through the emails real quick. I should have them sitting right here. Okay, but that's not the first one. Let's try to find the first email. The first email was very short. Sorry, I can't find it here. It said, in response to my messages to the website, it said, we completely removed everything you did in the game. Don't even try to make that claim. And I'll have to find that. Crap. But anyway, I think this was the second one he sent. He sent all three of these real quick. So, PH, I don't know what that means. And by the way, the copy-paste code that you input for most things you did have pretty much been replaced. Pretty much been replaced. Pretty much. It's odd. And oh, man, the amount of work I had to do to fix the levels after the junk you added. This is the junk I added without his permission, apparently. Let me show you how tough it is. This took him a week. Let me show you guys this. Sorry, this might take like an hour and a half for me to show you how to do this. You see that? And then he made a fence, and then he did this right here. You see that? See how long that took? So, and then he went to the next screen, and then he did this. Right? You see that? You see how that took forever to erase all the crap? By the way, that stuff doesn't look that great, but it was like a plant life. And the level was so blank, I'll show you what it looked like here. Sorry, I know this is taking forever, guys, to get rid of all this crap in the level. But see how plain this looks when you do that? He was supposed to make something comparable to this to replace those. He was supposed to make different things. Those were from my game. Those were placeholders from my demo game that are still in this game. You know, that he was supposed to replace. I added all the crazy spikes. Like, those are spikes I made, which aren't tough to make. It's not tough to make spikes. That's something the nesmaker does simple things like a death thing. You know, it has that. You can basically use button code to make a death thing. But you can see how difficult this is. I mean, how long have we been here? Like 2 or 3 weeks getting rid of this stuff? So anyway, you can see how difficult it isn't to do what he did. This is what he did. This is what he's complaining about, right? All that stuff. Anyway, it's my game, and all art assets are all me. Level design, me. And the enemy AI done from the UI, that's myself and Joe. Which, that sentence doesn't make any sense. And no, he didn't do anything. He did the graphics, yes, he did graphics. That's correct. Months after he was supposed to. It was taking forever and ever and ever. But no. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I don't have any problem with Joe. Let's see what this was. Oh yeah, so that's the messages I sent to him. I suggest you don't try to steal my stuff. So, well, I guess what else do I have to say? I mean, that was a lot of the proof, I guess. He was always mocking. He was always sarcastic. He was never on time, never had anything done when he was supposed to. Finally got stuff done, and half of it was wrong. I had to correct it. All this coding is mine. A lot of the graphics are mine. A lot of the button coding, you would call it, is mine. So, level design, a lot of it was actually mine. A lot of it needed reworked, what he basically did. And then I had to bug fix everything when he was supposed to do that. And then he tried to outsource that to somebody else, and they couldn't do it very well. And which is fine, because how would they? How would they? I guarantee they didn't play many Nintendo games either. How were they supposed to bug test a Nintendo game? They weren't, so I had to, right? And I already fixed so many bugs. That's another thing he doesn't know, that even if he were to replace all the code that I just showed you here, there's hundreds and hundreds of lines, if not thousands of lines of code elsewhere that are integrated within the game and how it works itself. So he's never going to be able to remove it, you know. Anyway, like I said, so he did the title screen. He didn't do the music. He did a lot of the graphics, which is title screen. But that's what everybody wants. That's what everyone wants, their name on it. They want to do the title screen. They want to be in charge, right? I mean, everyone who doesn't have a good idea and isn't caring and thoughtful about, say, a rest of the team, right? So anyway, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I think that should probably wrap it up. That should be enough. Actually, I'll go into my original desktop too. So this is my old desktop. I have so much stuff going on that okay. So 2822. That's a date of when I started this program. But I'll show you the exact file. Okay. Okay, 7:30. That was the last time that I coded anything or did anything for the Torgman video game. And we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and open it up here. Sorry, let's move this into that. And so that's right where it was, what I showed you earlier. There we go, now we can get out the door. So then that takes you to level 2, which is the warp code I was talking about that I coded. Jumping I coded, you know. Anyway, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. No, hopefully that's good enough. So I just ask that you guys, you know, don't support him stealing my work and my game. I'm not asking you not to go to a game convention. I'm not asking you to say anything nasty to this person running the TORG's Ohio Retro Gaming Summit. I don't know. I'm just asking, like, wouldn't you want the same respect, right? Would you want your stuff stolen? And we're not talking about some millionaire CEO stealing my work through contracts, somehow legally, you know. We're talking about a person who doesn't mention my name that I helped, covers up the fact that I did all this, you know, after I worked for literally months, nightly for hours every night, gave up my time for this, and he's stealing it. So, I don't know. I appreciate everybody listening. Hopefully this recorded fine. And I think that'll be it. Have a good day.